This creaky barn paid my mortgage 3 times over. Ready to let your own weather beaten board start printing money too? Picture waking up while the sky is still pink, walking across dew soaked grass, and unlatching doors that once hid hay bales, but now hide booked solid calendars and stacks of cash. In the next few minutes, you'll see exactly how a dusty outbuilding can morph into a profit machine, even if you have more termites than tourists today. I'll share real numbers from my own family farm, dig into smart ideas other barn owners swear by, and lay out the pitfalls that eat beginners alive so you can dodge them before a single dollar disappears. Stick around because the turning point where one bride's phone call flipped our finances is coming, and that story alone might spark your own payday. Let's start with a little backstory. My granddad built this barn in 1957, back when cattle outnumbered neighbors. For decades, it did what barns do: hold hay, host kittens, leak rain. By the time I inherited it, the roof sagged like an old hammock, and most sane people would have bulldozed the whole thing. Instead, a random Sunday scroll through social media showed me a photo of a barn wedding in Vermont. The caption bragged about a $10,000 weekend package. My eyes popped, my coffee sloshed, and a light bulb switched on so bright I could almost smell the fresh paint. That night, I opened a spreadsheet and typed 2 columns: repairs on the left, possible income on the right. Let me tell you, the right column won. Now, barns aren't magic ATMs. They're drafty, often uninsulated, sometimes protected by historical rules, and usually full of surprises like squirrels or antique fertilizer chunks no one wants to touch. But they also have charm you can't buy from IKEA, and square footage no downtown landlord will ever rent you for less than a small fortune. That combo makes them perfect blank canvases for dozens of small businesses. Weddings grab headlines, but that's just the flashy cousin at the reunion. Quiet cousins like micro storage, workshop rentals, farm to table dinners, beekeeping classes, mushroom cultivation, creative retreats, and even solar powered data pods are lining up for their moment. Before turning any of those ideas into income, you need to run 3 sanity checks: zoning, safety, and budget. I called the county clerk first thing Monday. Lucky break. Agricultural property in my zone could host events as long as I supplied parking, fire exits, and bathrooms. If your area is stricter, don't panic. Many barn owners sidestep public assembly red tape by focusing on storage, e-commerce fulfillment, or subscription veg boxes where only a handful of customers show up at a time. The point is you want a green light, or at least a yellow one you can live with, before pouring concrete. Safety came next. I hired a structural engineer for $200 to confirm the beams wouldn't fall on Grandma during the chicken dance. Best money ever spent, because his report doubled as proof for the insurance company later. Speaking of insurance, liability coverage jumped my annual premium by about $600, less than half the price of one Saturday party. Budget was my last fear. I set aside $15,000 for roof patches, gravel parking, and some basic string lights. No chandeliers, no commercial kitchen, just the bones and a killer sunset view. Remember, people pay for experience, not perfection. A 2024 survey of wedding planners showed 71% of couples choose barns for the authentic vibe, not marble floors. Translation: your appealing paint might be part of the charm. With green lights blinking, I started marketing before the sawdust even settled. An Instagram account, 3 drone photos, and a hashtag parade later, inquiries trickled in. But likes don't pay bills, bookings do. So I sweetened the deal with what I called the Barn Sampler. 8-hour venue rental, hay bale bench seating for 50 guests, and a portable restroom included. Price? $3,500, half due at signing. Industry reports peg the average U.S. barn wedding fee around $6,000. But I went low to fill the calendar fast and gather reviews. My back of napkin math said 3 weddings would cover startup costs, and anything past that was gravy. Here's the first big challenge no one warns you about. Barn seasons are short. In my Midwest climate, May through October is party time, leaving half the year quiet as snowfall. That lull can sink cash flow unless you bake winter income streams into your plan. Some barn owners turn the loft into holiday markets, rent heated corners to woodworkers, or host candlelight yoga. I leaned into micro storage. Vintage car aficionados paid me $60 per vehicle each winter for a dry spot away from road salt. 15 cars later, I had an easy $900 a month during my so-called off-season. Storage is low drama, low wear and tear, and zero bridezillas. But let's back up to the moment the whole venture went from spreadsheet dream to heartbeat reality. It was a Thursday afternoon when an email pinged, "Do you still have September 12th open? We want to book." My fiance loves barns. I nearly flipped my chair. The couple toured that weekend, fell for the string lights, and handed me a check for $1,750 deposit. I held that paper like Charlie held the golden ticket. Because it wasn't just money. It was proof the idea worked outside my head. 90 days later, after they said I do, my bank balance said you did. Success breeds questions, and neighbors started asking how to copy the blueprint. That's when I discovered my barn's final superpower, teaching. I packaged every misstep, like the time I forgot extension cords and the DJ ran off battery packs, into a 2-hour workshop. Tickets cost $40, included coffee and donuts, and sold out in a week. Education may not sound glamorous, but one Saturday class paid my electric bill for 4 months. Let's talk numbers, so you can see if this matches your reality. Year 1 revenue, 4 weddings at $3,500 each, equals $14,000. Winter storage, 900 times 5 months equals $4,500. Workshops, photo shoot rentals, and 1 weekend barn sale added another $6,000. Total, $24,500 against expenses of about $9,000, including insurance, repairs, electricity, and porta potties. That's $15,500 net from a building everyone thought was a lost cause. Year 2 jumped to $48,000 gross because reputation feeds momentum. Planners talk, Instagram tags multiply, you raise prices a smidge. By year 4, the barn cleared more profit than my old desk job and smelled a whole lot nicer than fluorescent cubicles. Maybe weddings aren't your jam? That's fine. I interviewed a retired mechanic in Oregon who gutted his barn's interior and installed 8 polished concrete bays. Each rents to weekend hobbyists, restoring classic cars at $200 a stall per month. He's full with a waiting list. Down in Georgia, a beekeeper fills her century-old barn with rows of hives, sells honey tastings right on the property, and ships subscription boxes nationwide. Vermont sees artists converting haylofts into co-op studios, each creative paying modest monthly rent while the owner takes a cut of gallery sales. The possibilities keep going. Indoor rock climbing wall, farm stay loft on Airbnb, hydroponic lettuce racks, even content studios for photographers who crave rustic backdrops without driving for hours. What stops most barn owners isn't lack of ideas. It's fear of upfront costs. I tell them renovation expenses aren't a mountain, they're a staircase. Patch the roof this month, add string lights next. Build the bar when the first deposit clears. Customers rarely care whether you spent $50,000 or $5,000, as long as the place feels safe, clean, and Instagram worthy. Speaking of clean, nothing kills rustic charm faster than real farm smells. Invest in a deep scrub, fresh gravel, And if animals still live nearby, a strict boundary so goat, aromas, stay outside guest noses. Trust me, first dance photos look better when no one's holding their breath. Marketing works best when you sell a story, not square footage. My website opens with a childhood photo of me riding a tricycle in front of the same red boards now glowing under Edison bulbs. Couples tell me they booked because they felt part of that history. You can do the same, whether your barn belonged to your ancestors or you just bought it at auction last week. Share the origin, the vision, the crooked nail you refuse to remove because Granddad hammered it. People crave authenticity in a photoshopped world. Give it to them straight, and they'll pay happily. Let's circle back to challenges, because it's not all sunset kisses and PayPal pings. Parking swallowed more time than I guessed. A flat field seems huge until 40 cars churn it into mud. Gravel cost $3,000 and saved countless shoes. Noise rules almost shut me down after a neighbor's midnight complaint. I solved it by switching DJs off at 10:30 and handing guests silent disco headphones. They loved it, the neighbor loved it, and I secretly loved the peace. Weather remains the wild card. One rainstorm can drown a ceremony if you lack backup space. I bought roll-down canvas sides that turned the open barn into a cozy hall in 10 minutes. Cheap insurance? Huge relief. Those solutions highlight the exploration phase that never ends. Each season teaches new tricks. Offer weekday discounts to fill calendars. Partner with a local florist for bundled deals. Install solar panels to wipe out utility bills. I once hosted a farm-to-fork dinner where the chef cooked using vegetables grown 20 feet away and charged $200 a plate. My barn simply provided ambiance and a roof over the tables. Profit margin on ambiance is delicious. You might wonder how to price experiences in a market full of other barns. Start by secret shopping within a 1-hour radius. Call as a bride or photographer, note packages and gaps. If competitors charge $5,000 for Saturday weddings, but none offers weekday elopements, you just found your niche. If everyone rents for events, but no one offers makerspace memberships, maybe your barn becomes the craft hub. Pricing is a dance. You lead with value, let demand follow your steps, and lift rates once the calendar overflows. So here's the key moment I promised. It happened not during a wedding, but at dawn when I walked through the empty barn the morning after an event. Fairy lights still twinkled, the air smelled of wood and vanilla candles, and the cleanup crew hummed softly. Sunlight streamed through gaps in the boards, painting golden stripes across the floor my granddad once swept after milking cows. I pulled out my phone to check bank notifications. Second half of the rental fee had landed overnight. That ping felt like my granddad patting my back, saying, "Good job, kid. You found a new use for my old hammer and nails." I realized then the barn wasn't just making money. It was keeping history alive in the most practical way, be paying for itself. If you're still on the fence, remember this final math. The USDA pegs average on-farm net income at about $43,000 a year. But barns converted to hospitality routinely pull double that from a fraction of the acreage. Add in tax advantages like depreciation, and suddenly the numbers shout louder than nostalgia ever could. Plus, you control the throttle. Scale up with bigger events, or keep it mellow with seasonal pop-ups. Freedom is the real profit. All right, let's wrap. Your dusty barn can sit there sipping rainwater until it rots, or it can dress up in fairy lights and start cutting checks. All it needs is a clear vision, a modest budget, and the guts to invite strangers to dance under its beams. Secure the permits, fix what must be fixed. Sell the story, and let the calendar fill. One booking changes everything. After that, You'll wonder why you ever doubted the old place.